I feel trapped. What do I need to do in order to create this freedom in my life? If you want to learn the mindset shifts that I made in order to create a life of freedom and ultimately create my dream life, you're in luck, because that's exactly what this video is about. Hey, CourtneyLSanders here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to me, I'm a full-time certified 7-figure, say that 3 times fast, life and business coach, as well as wife and mom. I wear all the hats and do all the things. But the reason why I do it is because above all else, one of my highest values in life is creating freedom for myself and creating freedom for my family. Not just financial freedom, but also time freedom and just having the headspace to do the different things that you want. However, I know that there are many people who watch my channel who might be looking for this sense of freedom. They're like, I feel trapped. What do I need to do in order to create this freedom in my life? Quiet as it's kept, I know I have quite a few people who watch my channel where maybe they don't comment, but they are working corporate careers that on the outside look amazing. Everyone in their family is telling them how excited they should be because they're so successful and they make so much money and they get stock options and bonuses and all these different things. But inside they feel like they are suffocating. They're not doing what they are passionate about. They feel like they're not really making the impact that they want to make on the world. And now, again, even though they're making this great salary, they're starting to feel kind of constrained. It's like golden handcuffs. Oh my goodness, I've created this life for myself, but I'm scared to leave my corporate position because how else am I going to be able to support all of this? So if that's where you're at, I have been where you have been, and I have supported so many entrepreneurs into transitioning from their corporate careers to becoming coaches precisely so that they could create a life of freedom. However, in order to do that, there are some really important mindset shifts that you are going to have to make. So if you want to learn the mindset shifts that I made in order to create a life of freedom and ultimately create my dream life, you're in luck, because that's exactly what this video is about. All right, the first thing that I did in order to create a life of freedom, and I did this when I had nothing, right? No freedom. When I was working my corporate job, when my husband and I were actually paying off debt, we had, spent all this money on our wedding. We had just bought a new house. And so I tell you that to say it wasn't because I was in a position to like, oh, yep, I'm just gonna up and quit my job and I'm just gonna live this life of freedom. But the first thing I did before I even knew what to do, I chose my choice. Now, if you've seen the talk that I did for the Girls Inc. Gala, it's here on my YouTube channel. You can actually check it out with this podcast where I talk about how to live a big life. So it's kind of related to how to live a life of freedom. That was one of my talking points in that speech that I gave. I talked about the importance of choosing your choice, and I wasn't talking about that just because it's a catchy phrase or it was good for the speech. I was talking about that because that's what I did, right? And that's what I help my clients do. So when I say choose your choice, what I mean is in any situation, and this is me putting my life coaching hat on, in any situation, it's important to recognize there's always a choice there, right? There's always a choice you can make. You might not have made choices that have brought you to those circumstances, or everything that's happening might not be something that you have control of. But regardless, if you are breathing and you find yourself in any situation, even if the majority of the factors within that situation are not within your control, I bet you that there is a choice that you can make. And so for me, when I was working my full-time job and I knew I wanted to do something different, I was newly married, I didn't have kids yet, but I was already starting to kind of think, and quiet as it's kept, even ask around. I remember asking some of the higher up women in the organization that I worked for, how they balanced motherhood and, once kids came along, how did they do all these things? I was really concerned about these things. And so because I knew that I wanted to live a life of freedom and I wanted to be available for my kids and my husband and all of this, but I didn't know how, I still chose my choice. And my choice was, I simply chose that I was going to be an entrepreneur. Again, before I even knew how I was going to do it, I just decided. I just made the decision. I chose my choice within that situation. And so again, if you are sitting here with golden handcuffs on in your corporate career and you're kind of allowing yourself to get into this victim mindset of like, oh, poor me, look at all this whole life that I've built that is like predicated on me working this position. There's no way I can come out from under this. I just need to continue putting one foot in front of the other. I would challenge you to choose your choice and to say, what choice do you have in that situation? Even if you don't know how you're going to make it happen, you can still choose that you're going to make it happen. And so once you choose that choice, that's when you see all of the different solutions, and it seems like magically everything becomes available available to you, but it doesn't happen until you choose your choice. And so that is the first step that you need to do. All right, the next thing that I did, and the big mindset shift that I had, even though I feel like I kind of had this even leading up to my decision to live a life of freedom and quit my job, was I decided that nothing was out of my reach, right? And I know that can almost sound like arrogant, like, girl, what you mean nothing is out of your reach? Nothing's out of your reach either, right? So it's not just me, nothing's out of your reach either. And what I mean by that, and this goes really part and parcel with choosing your choice, is that we have to get out of this mindset that there are things that are available for people up here, and then there's like things that are available for people down here. And then we're down here and those people are up there, and of course they have those things, but we can never have those things because we're down here. We might not articulate this to ourselves, but how we live our lives really shows that this is how we are thinking. One of the biggest mindset shifts that you are going to have to make is understanding that you can have anything, right? It's just a matter of, are you willing to do what is required for you to have those things? So now I don't tell myself, oh, there's things that I can't afford, or there's things that I can't do. I might say, you know, there's things that I am choosing not to afford at this moment because what would be required of me is not something that I am willing to give in order to make that thing happen. That's a perfectly, you know, fine choice to make, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's taking ownership and taking agency of how you see yourself in your own life. It's really being the main character of your own story and recognizing that it's all available to you, right? However it is that you want to live. And I recognize not everybody wants to necessarily live a luxurious lifestyle. Maybe you don't want first class, you know, flight tickets, or you don't like traveling or whatever. That's fine. But maybe you do love the open outdoors and you wish that you could spend more time, you know, hiking in the mountains or backpacking through Europe or something like that for a month. But again, you're telling yourself, well, that's not for me. That's for, you know, trust fund kids who, you know, have their lives set out for them. And of course they could do things like that, but there's no way that I could do that, you know, in my position with, you know, my family and my responsibilities. Again, you have to have the mindset that nothing is out of reach for you. You have to decide what it is that you want and then say, okay, what is it that I need to do in order to get what I want? And if you look at what is required and you say, you know what, I'm willing to make those choices and I'm willing to be consistent and to be diligent, you too can have whatever it is that you are looking for over time, because again, nothing is out of reach for you. And so that was the decision that I had to make early on. I said, I do want to live a life where I can work whenever I want to work. If I want to work at 3 o'clock in the morning, if I want to work at 12 p.m. in the afternoon, if I want to work at 11 o'clock at night, I want to have the flexibility in order to organize my own schedule. I want to live a life where I do travel. I want to live a life where I travel with my family. I want to live a life where I have support at home. I don't want to be burned out and I'm the one that's doing everything, that's cooking, that's cleaning, that's, you know, doing the laundry. I want to have support, right? I didn't say, oh, that's for people up here, that's for people who were born into this type of family or who live this type of life. No, I said it's all available for me. It's just what is going to be required in order for me to have those things, and am I willing to do it? But I would have never even known what my options were had I not first said, you know what, I believe that nothing is out of my reach. All right, the third mindset shift that I really feel like I probably should have put this before the last one, because this is almost like a precursor to any of these mindset shifts, is simply believing that you are worthy, right? I could do a whole video on this. I'm trying to get off my soapbox and not go down a rabbit hole, just because I know that there are so many amazing, talented people, especially talented women, who you would never know were dealing with imposter syndrome or feelings of unworthiness. But if you ask them, why is it that you're not living a life of freedom? Why haven't you taken the steps to do these things that you say you want to do? Okay, you want to transition out of corporate, you want to start a business. Why haven't you done all these things? They'll give you the PC answer, you know, the surface level answer. Oh, you know, I haven't figured out how to get started. I haven't found the right mentor yet. You know, I haven't registered my LLC. Oh my goodness. If I had a nickel for every time somebody told me that, I would be a super, super rich woman, right? So lots of people love to say these kind of surface level things, but really often what it boils down to is a feeling of unworthiness. It's a feeling of, who am I, right? Who am I to just get up one day and just call myself a coach? Who am I to say that I'm gonna be a motivational speaker and I'm gonna, you know, inspire people all over the world? Who am I to say that I'm just gonna, you know, run this business and that is gonna be successful and I'm gonna do? There's this like, who am I syndrome, right? This imposter syndrome, this feeling of unworthiness. And so I'm really grateful that I was able to overcome a lot of those mental blocks very early on, because I shifted that who am I to why not me? And that's what I would tell myself, why not me? I was in my 20s when I started my coaching business, and people were like, you're like 20 something. Who's gonna listen to you, right? I said, why not, right? I have a unique perspective that perhaps other 20 somethings would want to hear from. And that's exactly what I did with my business in the early stages. I narrowed my focus to other people who were like me, who were young millennial women who wanted to learn the wisdom that I had, because why not, right? I didn't say, why me? I said, why not? And that opened up a world of possibilities for me. So ask yourself, where are those areas where you're saying, who am I? And you're feeling like you're not worthy? And where can you change that who am I to a why not me? All right, I have more where that came from, but first I wanna hear from you. What mindset shift are you working on in order to create a life of freedom? Share it in the comments below. All right, the fourth mindset shift that I made and hopefully you're seeing that it's not like I made one mindset shift right after the other. All of these were shifts that I kind of made at the same time, and they all really support each other. But this next shift is simply believing that I'm valuable, right? So this goes back to that worthiness. They're like, oh my goodness, who, me? I could be a coach. Who's gonna listen to me? I got rid of a lot of that who's gonna listen to me when I realized that even where I stood at that time, right? I was not a full-time entrepreneur. I was working a corporate job. I was a 20-something, right? Like there was a lot that I had to learn in life, but I knew even at that present station, I had a lot to offer. I had a lot of value to give. And there was a lot of things that I had done in my life, a lot of visible victories that I had. I talk about that all the time. What are the visible victories in your life that people always ask you about? They say, wow, I've seen, right? Visible. I see that you've achieved all these things. How did you do it? I had people coming up to me almost every day or sending me emails asking me, how was it that I overcame my situation with school, right? I won't go through my long story here. You can check out on some of my other podcasts, but I had a full ride engineering scholarship that I lost, and I started this business, and I went through this whole, personal transformation process in order to not only get back in school, but launch my business. And I had blogged it the entire time. And so a lot of people were asking me, well, how did you overcome all of that? And then once I started to share that and build a brand for myself, people started to ask, how are you building this brand? How are you growing your social media following? How are you starting to land clients? How are you getting speaking engagements? There were a lot of visible victories that I had, even in my inexperience as a coach, that I knew was valuable. And I just allowed them to be what they were. And I didn't stop the process and say, oh, well, I don't think I'm worthy to help people. I don't think I'm worthy to charge people for what I know. I just allowed it, right? Because I believed that I was worthy, going back to the other mindset shift. And I believed that what I had was a value, and believing that what you have is a value really isn't about you. I think sometimes we have this false sense of piety, I don't want to be this arrogant person or whatever. So we downplay our value because we think that makes us, more kind, which is not true. Believing that you have value has less to do with you and has more to do with the people that you are called to serve. And so I knew that there were people that I could help, and that me believing that I didn't have value wasn't going to be helpful to them, right? I think about, it's been almost 7 years now, oh my goodness, since I've been a coach full time. And I think about all the clients that I've worked with, even the clients that I'm working with right now in my coaching certification program who are coming up and graduating and they're getting their certifications. What if back then I didn't believe that I had value? I wouldn't be in front of this camera speaking to you right now. So whatever is true for me is true for you. You have value, and you really just have to believe that. All right, and the fifth mindset shift that I made was I simply just stopped being fearful of failure. I know that is a huge one. It seems like people just can't even get off the square because they're so worried about, well, what happens if I fail? What happens if this doesn't work out? And I think I just got so tired of, saying one day I'm gonna do this, one day I'm gonna do that, or wondering what would happen if I simply just took a chance, that I didn't want to wake up and it be another year had gone past, another 5 years had gone past, another decade had gone past, and that I hadn't taken action. In fact, I would say my mindset shifted to being more fearful of my life staying the same and going my whole life and never even attempting to achieve my dreams than I was fearful of trying to go after my dreams and then failing. That's fine, right? You can fall down, you just dust your knees off, you pick yourself up again, and then you try something new, right? And there's plenty of times that I failed even within my entrepreneurial journey where I've had to backtrack a little bit, clean some things up, fix some stuff, whatever. Okay, onward and move forward. But I just stopped fearing it because I was like, what is the alternative? That I'm just not gonna take action? And that was scarier to me than the idea of actually taking action action and failing. In fact, I won't say I court failure, but I don't mind it now because I know that failure is just feedback. It's really only permanent in failure if you just give up and you say, oh, I failed, I'm not gonna do anything else. That's failure. But if you hit that initial failure, it's not true failure, it's just feedback, giving you a chance to clean up maybe something that you messed up, fix your mistakes, learn something new, and then move in the next direction. And so I now see them as stepping stones to my next level. And so, I look forward to learning from my mistakes so that ultimately I can create the life of freedom that I dream of. All right, thanks so much. Hopefully this video was helpful for you and it's really changed how you think about what it's gonna take for you to create a life of freedom. But if I've motivated you and you're like, I'm all in, Courtney, well then you need to be all in my next big name coach certification program. We will not only teach you how to coach, we will certify you with an accredited, yes, it's not just a certification because I said it is, it's actually accredited by a third party, a recognized third party accrediting body, but we will give you an accredited coaching certification, help you come up with your own coaching methodology, your own coaching packages. We'll essentially choose the niche for you. We'll listen to your story and help you pick out a niche, and then we'll show you how to build your entire coaching brand from scratch. So if that sounds of interest to you and you're like, yes, this is what I need to create the life of freedom that I am looking for, go ahead and click the link below in order to apply for a call with one of my enrollment coordinators. All right, if you love this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast, The Courtney Sanders Show, on both iTunes and Spotify. And if you can't wait for my next podcast episode or my next YouTube video, make sure you're following me on both TikTok and Instagram. It's CourtneyLSanders on both. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.